Hey everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a couple board members who are running a little late, but they'll be here. We're going to start this morning with a public meeting on State Division 22 standards and compliance. Mr. Barrett?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Campbell. In your package, you have the report, and I can share that we are meeting all the state requirements for Division 22. Essentially, this is to ensure our commitment to providing a high quality education for all students. There's more than 22 standards, by the way, and they continue to add standards as each legislation section continues to finish. And so you see that report. I will tell you, and as in years past, Denise is a model for collecting this information. And when we send this information up to the state, they often recognize her as being the model for people to hear and
Well, Andy's coming.
she is the
We know her son. Okay.
There's no parking at all. Is she on the bond committee? What happened?
I know.
And then in that other final report, just the one thing of note, and we have talked about this before about one of the revisions for this year will be the Educational Equity Advisory Committee is now a superintendent committee and not a board committee, so it does have to follow public meeting laws, and we appreciate the legislature for making that recognition. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If there's Diane, I know you're new to this process, and happy to answer any other questions if you want to set something up separately. So
After the information.
yes, sounds good. And that's all I have.
Okay, great. We're scheduled to have a program report with EHS students. They're not here yet. I was hoping you all had a chance to shine in front of your peers, so.
Or we can let them wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was thinking what we'll do, we could move on to accentuate the positive, and then we'll come back and do a ranking for the percentages, okay? All right. What's that?
I said, I thought that might be that.
Oh, no, it's fancy. And 80. All right. Are you going first, Kayla?
And just also recognition, you may hire something overhead right now.
Oh, yes.
Through our EMS program with partnership with Mercy Flights, we do have the helicopter landing on our field right now, which is an exciting time. And it was either that or participate in the Great American Shakeout in a few minutes, and there was some discussion on how to manage that, but you guys get Great American Shakeout.
Yeah.
So.
Carolina wanted us to come out and watch the helicopter land, and I told her to add it to her list of grievances for him, so. Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, board. Kaylin Cross, proud principal of Pirate Ship. I'm going to try to keep my accentuate the positive short, even though there are so many things that I'd like to highlight today. Brent already talked to you just a little bit about our partnership with Mercy Flights and the helicopter landing this morning. And we do have the Great American Shakeout that we're going to participate in here at 10:16. Our fourth period leadership students will be joining us shortly. They are kind of busy because it's homecoming week, so they'll be in as soon as they get a few things squared away for tomorrow's halftime presentation of the board. I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who participated in the homecoming parade yesterday afternoon. Special shout out to the city of Phoenix, to the Phoenix Police Department, and to Sarah Crawford, who is my brain walking outside of my body right now, and just made that a very smooth experience. We were staged and ready to roll a good 7 to 10 minutes before the city was able to close streets, and I think that that's a record for maybe for forever, but definitely since I've been here. So thank you so much for just following all of the cues and doing everything we needed to make that a great success. I also wanted to shout out to all of our student management staff and game supervision staff who were here until about 11 p.m. last night. We had some great competitive He-Man volleyball games and powder puff games where the seniors did shine. I'll let the students talk more a little bit about that, but I just wanted to make sure you all know that, adults being here to supervise those is what makes it able to happen. So I wanted to shout out to them. We do tonight have our volleyball senior night, and some other upcoming events that we want to make sure that the board know about is we have a drive-through barbecue. That's a fundraiser for FFA. I will send you the flyer to your email, right after I finish chatting with you. And then we do, have some other kind of sporting events. The boys soccer, team is third in Skyline right now. And so if you can catch any of their games, that would be really great. We are also hosting the conference championship for cross country that we want to make sure that you all know about in Culver in the next couple of weeks. And so we'll get you the date for that. We also wanted to shout out to DECA who cranked out some signs for floats yesterday, and to Brenda Seeley, who is a lamination queen, to make sure those things last for years to come. And lastly, but certainly not least, we wanted to shout out, we had a great professional development day on Monday. I was kind of joking and singing a song that it's what dreams are made of. We were able to just really have some quality time to work together on a writing a cross curriculum goal that we are doing as a staff. Alyssa Barber and Ann Zaki were the brains behind that. We were able to also spend time talking about our MTSS system. And then we were able to have some wonderful team time together. So I wanted to shout out to David Ford and John Barber and the culinary students who made pizza in our new wood-fired pizza oven outside. So just some great things going on with Pirate Ship. That's all for us right now.
Good morning, board. Allison Haas, assistant principal of Red Middle School. I just have a couple things that we want to share this morning. The first one, we just want to really recognize the really awesome stuff that's coming out of our band and music department right now. We have a new band teacher this year, and she's just Kelly Kate. She has really hit the ground running. Already reaching out to community organizations to get kids out into the community to perform, and just doing some really awesome stuff with our kids. She sent a communication to families last week that had some really great success and highlights for the year so far. So I want to share a couple of those for you. She wrote, our 6th grade music class successfully spent time this quarter studying the Star Spangled Banner and exploring rhythm and melody through singing and instruments. I was in there a few times and she really did have entire classes of 6th graders singing. Awesome. Our branded choir program has 19 6th through 8th grade students. They're coming together, building a healthy vocal technique, harmony, and blend. And lastly, our varsity band is preparing for their first event of the year when they join the PHS band tomorrow night at the homecoming game. So already some really cool stuff. Just really big shout out and thank you to Kelly for all her work so far. The other thing is that our fall sports season is wrapping up. We had a really successful season this year. Over 100 athletes came out and were part of one of our fall programs. Our teams worked hard. We had a lot of growth from our athletes and a lot of fun. And we want to thank the people that really came together. It's a huge community effort to make a sports program happen. So I just want to thank the people involved in that. Our volleyball coaches, Malcolm Munson, Carlin Stroud, Misty Hetzel, and Alyssa Barber. Our football coaches, Brent Boker, Adrian Lamar, Patrick Shedd, and Kate Evans. And our cross-country staff, Amber Jacobson, Isais Monjares, Jessica Morgan, and Mike Davis. And then, of course, all of the people that come out to run operations. It is a big production. So that's Vanessa Jimenez, Corinne Wilson, Chrisanne Haas, Brianna Williams, Todd Sewell, Felipe Reyes, and Pilar de la Torre. Of course, Sergeant Lehman is a great partner who's been at all of our events, working with families and keeping us safe. And of course, our athletic director, Derek Rodman, for bringing it all together. I also just want to acknowledge kind of the greater community that comes together to really wrap up our student athletes and support them in the ways that we need. This fall, we received a $2,500 grant from the Dave Mitchell Foundation that will go to our programming. Last fall, we had a grant from the Figaro's Health Program. And then we have so many partnerships in the community that just kind of wrap around kids and give them the gear that they need to be successful in play. Our own community care program, connects with families and athletes to provide gear. And there's one program in particular, that has been going on for a long time, and I don't know how aware you are of it. But our own cross-country coach, Amber Jacobson, works with our local running community. And they fundraise year round, to provide really high quality brand new shoes to any runner who needs it. So every day our kids are receiving brand new shoes when they need them to keep them going. I got my first pair of running shoes when I was 16 years old, and it changed my life. So I'm so grateful, for the program that we have for kids. So that's it. Thank you.
Welcome, students. The principals are just giving an update right now, and then as soon as they're done, we're gonna come back and answer your questions. So thanks for being here.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Shana Schleich. I'm a principal at Phoenix Elementary School. It's good to be here at this daytime board meeting. I have a few things to celebrate. First of all, on Monday, we had an in-service day, and it's such a great time for our staff to get together and learn. I had the privilege of leading all elementary grade level teams in a math core review, where we were talking about instructional strategies to strengthen their math outcomes, and it was such a productive day. I think our colleagues are going to talk a little bit about some of the other things that happened that day, but I just wanted to highlight that. We had our last time I was here, we talked about how we were doing all of our diagnostic assessments, and I'm really happy to report that our ELA benchmark went up by 6% growth in 1 year. So our beginning of year data is looking really promising, really proud of the hard work of our students and our staff in that area. Along with attendance, we've been doing a lot of concerted efforts to really, make sure schools are a place where people want to be. And so right now, I want to thank every single one of our teachers, because teachers are what make, and when I say teachers, I mean teachers and staff, are what make kids want to come to school, those connections. So we have 90% attendance right now, which is really a real big celebration. I also want to recognize Lori Delgado. She's our attendance secretary, and she is on top of it. So we're doing a lot of tracking, a lot of support, a lot of incentives. But just the most important thing that we're doing is making sure that kids have healthy connections and school is a place where they want to be. Finally, I want to recognize our entire SPED staff. As we're doing more inclusive practices, we're really looking at the way that we make sure kids' needs are being met. So we had on Monday as well, we redid our entire sensory room, which was a collaborative effort by our SPED teachers and our SPED IAs, so that it's a really purposeful place that kids can get their sensory needs met. And it was a project that needed to get done, and it's really an awesome place that's going to serve all of our kids really well. I want to thank our SPED teachers and our SPED staff for that. That's all I have from PES.
Good morning, board. Good to see everybody. Heather, the principal over at Talent Elementary. First and foremost, I want to say happy Bosses Day to you, Brent. Everybody's not here, that's just here, and to our board. It is Bosses Day. There's no better bosses, I think, on the planet. We'll never want to be getting proud, so you should be the best boss. I did want to share just a quick little note that Shauna and I had the opportunity last week to travel to New Orleans for the National Assembly for Family Engagement and Education. And it was a real pleasure to sit alongside some of the experts in the field. And we really left there feeling affirmed that like we're on the right path. Like we're sitting through Dr. Mapp, who's an author and amazing person, and Ann Henderson, who's written co-wrote the book Beyond the Big So, which has guided a lot of our work. And we're just sitting there listening to their words, and we're like, dang, we're doing it, and that this is the work that's engaging everybody in the classes of education. So just thank you for that opportunity to be able to travel and share what we're doing Also, following up on what Shauna said about the in-service, thank you for continuing to support in-service. That's a big deal, you know, these districts don't press school on that day and take the day off, but we choose to learn together, and that's really makes a difference. I got to spend the whole day with our team that's really focusing on language arts, Javier, Corinne, and then our consultant with ORTI, that really the thoughtful process, but thinking about outcomes for reading and being really intentional both about setting goals and instructional strategies that we will employ across the district. So it was phenomenal, and we followed that up yesterday with kind of putting the bell on all of that work, and then making agreements as a building and as a district about some of these key strategies that we're going to employ. Also, I wanted to do a quick shout out to Chef Ryan Sweet, who's in the back here. He's our new so guy. He's been over at Town Elementary filling in and just doing a great job. But also really excited about a concern and kind of question came up in our PTA meeting last week, and I reached out to him and I said, hey, would you be willing to get together? We could talk about food. And they're like, absolutely. So we're meeting this afternoon with a group of parents and really gonna come up with some action plans to really follow their lead about what, you know, where they want to see food service go. So I just love that Sodexo's open to that conversation. We have Chef Ryan on board, so it's going to be a really good conversation this morning. Two more things real quick. I just want to give Ashley Lay, a behavior specialist, all the kudos in the world. Without those positions in our buildings, Shauna and I would be running circles because, you know, it takes somebody to help me with that. And Ashley's just doing a phenomenal job. She got a standing ovation yesterday, and I agree. And then last but not least, tomorrow is our monthly, we have renamed the 5280 Fun Run to the Mustang Mile. The kids agree, because sometimes fun run doesn't sound correct, but that's tomorrow.
Good morning, Pirate. Please pardon the interruption. At this time, we will practice our earthquake drill. Please listen to these instructions first. In the event of an earthquake, drop where you are onto your hands and knees. This position protects you from being knocked down and reduces your chances of being hit by falling or flying objects. Next, cover your head and neck with one arm and hand. If a sturdy table or desk is nearby, crawl underneath for shelter. If no shelter is nearby, crawl next to an interior wall. Stay on your knees and bend over to protect vital organs. Hold on until shaking stops. If you are under a shelter such as a desk, hold on to it with one hand. Be ready to move with your shelter if it shifts due to the shaking. If you have no shelter available, hold onto your head and neck with both arms and hands. Okay, now please respond as if we are having an earthquake. Remember, drop, cover, and hold on.
Go ahead.
We're not. This is so. They don't take a picture.
Yeah.
And we will not be trying to come back to you. So we wait for the.
Wow. Live through that. Oh, we should do this every meeting. That's exciting. So just to wrap it up, tomorrow is the Mustang Mile. You are all welcome. It's gonna be a beautiful day for a run. Allison and I invite you to come over too. And so we begin that right on the 3rd. And it's also our annual Pumpkin Dinner Day, where we invite staff and students and families to dress. And then I'm sure to support all of our friends and family who survived or going back. So that's it from talent. I'll hand it over to Ken.
Thanks, Heather. Good morning. Kent Fuller, principal at Orchard Hill. And as educators, occasionally we get really positive comments from our customers. And yesterday I received a great email that forgive me for reading something aloud to you, but I feel I want to read aloud because it's really indicative of our staff and staff here at high school, middle school, and the other elementaries as well. And I would say also Phoenix Town Rising Academy. It's about a special education situation. So the title was So Impressed with Orchard Hill. The parent writes, Kent, I had a meeting yesterday and it went so well. It was so wonderful to have such a kind, caring, compassionate team for my son. Mary, this is Mary Martina, and Sarah Price are wonderful and so willing to work hard for my son to get him what he needs and not just labeling him as a badly behaved child, but instead as a sweet, loving kid that he is with difficult neurological differences. It's hard for us to stop comparing this year to how horrible last year was. I will say the students new to our district, how horrible last year was for him, because we are just so pleased and even a little shocked that our son has people who care about him, communicate with us, and are willing to go the extra million miles for him. So I really want to thank Mary Martina, Sarah Price, and all of the staff in our district who do this extra mile every day. So that was a fun note to get. We have not renamed the 5280, but I do want to publicly thank Stephanie Hayes. She's our excellent PE teacher. She's adopted that program. I think it started at Talent Elementary, didn't it? And what a great event. Like the kids love it. It's a fun time for them. We've had many parents come and cheer their kids on running a mile. It's funny, so some of the second graders want to convince me that they ran like 4 laps or like, I'm like, whoa, okay, you ran a lot of miles. It's a fun event, and then we did that last Friday. Next, I want to publicly thank all of our instructional assistants. Heather mentioned behavior support specialists. You know, at this time of the year, those people really do a lot of hard work to help kids be successful in class. And there's, you know, the 5-year-olds that have never had some of those experiences, and our IAs are really working hard to help support students. Lastly, Diane Wolf, our office manager, last week was honored with the Cool 103 Teacher of the Week from Cool FM. And Holly Swift, our other office staff, wrote a poem actually and nominated her. But I will say that some people were saying, well, she's not a teacher, but I think somebody else said everybody in our building is a teacher. And I know that Diane has taught me a lot in my short tenure at Orchard Hill. So thanks, Holly, for recognizing her. And Joe made a great video about it that you can see as well. Thank you. Aaron?
Thanks again, Aaron Sonfi, Phoenix Town Rising Academy. Just 2 things, because I'm more succinct. Well, every year, we have a lot of families who choose to homeschool for PTRA for a lot of different reasons. Some of those are medical reasons. Without that flexible structure that we provide, we would often lose these families to other districts or to other homeschool or charter opportunities. We've been able to help 3 different families already this year to try to work with them when they have students that are facing medical issues. So we're proud to be a part of that, to try to keep those kids in our district and provide that service to our families. Finally, tomorrow we have our annual field trip to Pheasant Field Farms. On this field trip, we generally get as many parents and adults as we do students. So we're looking forward to connecting with them tomorrow at our annual pumpkin soiree. All right, that's it for PTRA. Senator Del Rio.
Thank you. I'm Javier Del Rio. This is not here, but I am the proud Director of Instructional Improvement and Strategic Plan Coordinator. So I wanted to just take a couple of seconds to thank a couple of people. First of all, we got together with All for Teachers on Monday. This is a message to you guys. Just like your teachers prepare your lessons to you, and they think about how they're going to engage with you in the content that you're learning, our teachers are also learning. So when we get together with them, we have to think about how we're going to get teachers engaged in what we're teaching them, and they're not always the best students. That we have to figure out how to get them engaged and not distracted with all the other things that they're thinking about, which is often you. So we spend all day with them, and in order to do that, you have to spend many hours preparing for that. So I wanted to thank Jamar Boyd and Corinne Cotton for spending, I would say, over 20 hours getting ready for the type of free service that we provide for teachers so they could learn and work better with you. So, and then one thing that I also wanted to share, we worked with our Oregon RTI consultant, and it was about precision teaching. And I just wanted to show you something that she did, because we walked through classrooms, and our job was to give feedback to teachers as to what we're observing, and how can we be a little bit more precise in our teaching. But I'll give you an example so you guys know things that we do. So we were watching a teacher do a really fabulous lesson. I don't know if it was kindergarten or first grade, but the teacher was modeling for the students how to actually write a letter. Seems silly to you now because you're older, but if you think about that, when you write a letter, normally you go to the left. If you don't teach that to the kids, they start at the bottom, we go this way. You teach them how to hold the pencil and you do this. The teacher did such a great job that she moved in front of the board, so the kids on this side were not able to see how she was modeling for the kids. Our job is to work on precision teaching. So our feedback to the teacher was, just do this one thing. When you're modeling for kids, move a little bit over to the side so they all can see what you're doing. That is precision teaching. Thank you.
Amy?
Hi, Amy, food service, and Heather kind of stole some of my accentuate the positive there, because I was going to thank Heather for helping organize this, and we're hoping to work with, principals at different schools to organize some more of these groups. I think it's always great to get feedback from the families and the students, so we're really looking forward to doing some of that this year. A lot of little updates happening in food service so far this year. We've had some farm fresh special menu items like pesto pizza from Fry Family Farms, taco meat from Marvin Gardens. And we've had some tasting tables with the partnership of Rogue Valley Farm to School that we're doing in the elementaries. Coming up here in October, we have apples that we're locally sourcing from Fox Run Farms, and then we will be following up the tasting tables with the students with special recipes on the menu then afterwards. We've got National Nacho Day coming up November 6th, and we've got some local farm fresh holiday meals in the works. So we look forward to seeing everyone there and sharing them with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Any positives from the board? I'm just glad we were all able to get back up after the Great American Shakeout, myself included. Okay, we have our students from Miss Robbins' class here. Thank you for joining us. I understand you have some questions for us, and so are you taking turns asking questions? Okay, awesome. How many of you were here last year? Okay, I'll try not to repeat myself too much, but maybe we'll just do some introductions, and I'm assuming you may all know your classmates, but why don't we start here with our board rep, starting with you, Emily.
I'm Emily.
I'm Elia.
I'm Lincoln.
I'm Rachel.
We have freshman, sophomore, senior, right? Okay, great. Don?
I'm Dawn Watson. I have been on the board since 2013, and my kids went to the school, and I do lots of different things related to school boards throughout the Oregon.
Rebecca Weathers, been on the school board since 2021. I have 2 kids in the district right now, one at Talent Elementary, one at Talent Middle School, and I have 1 graduate.
Michael Campbell, I've been on the board since 2020. I'm a 3rd grader at Orchard Hill, and a younger one who will be terrorizing Kent next year at Orchard Hill in kindergarten. I am.
Diana Rasmussen, I'm new to the board this year. I had 2 sons graduate from Phoenix High School way back when, before you guys were probably born. So anyway, I'm looking forward to being here and honored to be part of the board.
I'm Holly Fairmont. I went through Phoenix Talent School District. I have 2 daughters that graduated from Phoenix Talent School District. Working on my 5th year here on the board.
Buenos dias, good morning, Nancy Castillo McKinnison. I've been on the board since 2020. And I've had 2 kiddos graduate from this district, and then the last one here as well.
I'm Brent Berry, I'm your superintendent. I started my career in this district in 2004 as the assistant principal and athletic director of Phoenix High School. I'm going on my 9th year as superintendent and absolutely love this district. And this is my assistant Denise, kind of keeps everything in track.
So, all right, we're looking forward to hearing your questions. Those of you who were here last year heard me say this, but one of the things that I think is important and important opportunity in your coming here today is to kind of understand and learn the difference in the role of the board versus the other people in the room, the people who really run our school district on a day-to-day basis. The board's role is we set policy, we oversee the management of resources, so we pass a budget and allocate budget dollars. We advocate for public school in general and for the school district at a local, state, and national level. So we work with a lot of other elected officials throughout the state and throughout the country. Many of our board members have been to Washington, D.C. To advocate for public school and for the school district. And just generally, we set goals and a vision for the school district with feedback from the broader community, whether it's our school staff or students or your families. Our goal is to kind of take all of that and set a path forward that sets a high standard for learning and good results for all of you. So with that, we did have a chance to preview some of your questions, and there are some that are more operational or day-to-day structured. So we'll be relying on help from some of our from Mr. Berry or some of our principals even in the room to get your questions answered. So with that, we'll start with whoever's going first.
The microphone for them.
Yeah, let's get them on mic. Right there.
Virtual training on as well.
Hello?
Hello, everyone. This is her.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a senior at Phoenix High School. I got into two-way emerging program at Phoenix. And I was just wondering if there's a plan to integrate two-way emerging programs at Cal Middle School and Phoenix High School. And if not, what support systems are there for students to transition?
Really good question, and I can take that. That is a staff, and that's obviously we love our two-way immersion program. We feel like we've had one of the longest standing two-way immersion programs at Phoenix Elementary in the state. We have attempted to expand that, and we do that currently right now. We have expanded that into the mathematics, and Allison can share more if you want to expand on that. But in the middle school, and then we have other bilingual opportunities, mainly in, when you get into the Spanish language and AP Spanish at the high school, but it's not as clean of a track as it is in elementary, but we're looking to expand those opportunities. We always, and we value and we recognize at graduation, the biliteracy seal. And so hopefully some of you are part of that this next spring. And we've continued to increase our numbers in that regard. So thanks for the question. We are looking at making sure we have staff to provide that instruction at the secondary level and definitely feel proud of that program. Thank you.
Well, my name is Charlie. I'm a sophomore here at Phoenix High School. My question is, how do you make sure that teachers have the support that they need?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll start from a board role. And I think it's online. You can go and look at it. Every public school district in Oregon has a collective bargaining agreement with their teachers. And so teachers are part of a union. And so one of the official ways that we do that is every period of time, so that contract goes for a period of time, we negotiate that contract with our teachers. And that sets the pay, benefits, and working conditions that they teach under. Other than that, just try to be available and accessible to listen to them and hear their concerns and ideas. I think one example is with the cell phone policy. a couple of us came to in service and we had a listening session to gather feedback. So there's some unofficial ways that we do that. I think in an overarching way, we try to make sure that our teachers feel fairly compensated for the hard work that they do. And that the school district is set up to support their success, and starts with hiring good leaders as well. So the board's job is to hire the superintendent. He hires the rest of his staff, and I think we have a really excellent staff here. And I don't know if you wanted to add on.
Yeah, and you may have heard as you came in and some of the staff administrators were talking about the professional development we do for our teachers. And we do a survey every year to see what the needs are for our staff and try to tailor and differentiate those needs to each of our staff members. And so sometimes that's easier said than done. But I will tell you, on Monday, across the board, it was the most amazing day for our professional development and training based on what we were able to provide and the feedback we got from our staff. So we know that the needs of a teacher is different today than it was a decade ago, 2 decades ago, 50 years ago. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping up on the trends on what our staff needs. It's a good question.
You all play a big role in supporting teachers. Wow. Yeah. Showing up, listening, paying attention to instructions, put your phone away. That's all stuff that's very helpful too. Thank you for the question.
Hi, my name is Adriana Flores. Sorry, I lost my voice a little bit yesterday as a coach, but I'm a senior here, and my question is, how does the district make the curriculum, make sure that it's clear, well organized, but also challenging for our students and not just given like busy work?
That's a good question. The board's role is adopting curriculum that the staff recommend. And I will tell you, over the last 5 or 6 years, we have been able, through different leveraging of funds, is purchase relevant, culturally relevant, and standards-based, research-based curriculum. So that's a start. And all of our curriculum meets the state standards, and we ensure that that is another thing that the teachers need to professionally develop and trained on. We are in our going on our 3rd year of our new reading curriculum, and so sometimes that takes a lot to really understand and unpack. And we've really started to hit a momentum to really kind of dig into all those pieces of that curriculum. Our curriculum director, Dr. Lambert's not here right now; she's out on a training. But that's kind of how we review and make sure it's clear to our teachers so they can deliver the best research practice curriculum that we can offer. Hopefully that answered your question. I don't know if there's another administrator that wants to share anything as well.
I would add just that our next one is social studies, social sciences. So we'll be looking at this year. We're pretty excited about that. We haven't had a new social studies curriculum. It's like a rotation. So social studies curriculum hasn't been updated in a number of years, so that's a really awesome opportunity. And middle school social studies teachers and high school are gonna meet together to evaluate. And that'll be something that will really hopefully have a nice, clean 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12 options for new curriculum for social studies and history.
And be going on 20+ years in this district, I've seen many curriculum adoptions. What Tiffany Lambert has set up in the process to ensure that we are picking the right curriculum for our kids in our community is really detailed, it's comprehensive. It looks at inclusive practices, it looks at culturally relevant materials, and really is a lot more comprehensive than it ever has been. So.
I'm Melissa from and my question is, what is being done to address the needs of people to help people that have a 504 plan on IEP?
Let me take that one too. First of all, I want, and I told Chair Campbell this earlier when we got a little brief preview of the questions. I really think, when you ask questions, it's kind of shares what is important to you. And these questions that you provided, it is absolutely unbelievable. I thank you for that, your leadership, your understanding of what it takes to be a public school and serve all students, and how you want your teachers supported. So thank you for the thoughtful questions on this, and it really tells you what's important to you. So first of all, thank you for that. 504s and okay. First, when I saw this question, what first came to mind is if you build it, they will come. And we have such an incredible special education department in this district. And that's through our board support, it's through advocacy, it's through listening to our community. We have just implemented for the first time ever in our district a full inclusive model. You may have heard some principals talk about it at the elementary level. Really understanding that, you know, our kids with special needs and certain disabilities really can benefit from the general ed setting. You guys do an amazing job here at the high school of including all students in the general ed setting, in the curriculums, whether it's music, CTE program, academic courses. And so that's what we're trying to do to ensure that we are supporting every student on a 504, every student on an IEP. That's a collective effort with a lot of team members, including the student and the family. And so we make sure there's things to address that we call an IEP meeting that we have to have every year anyway by law. But if there's anything that's happening that we need to adjust that, we can call an IEP meeting to support our students in that way. So hopefully I answered the question. I don't know if there's other team members that want to share.
No, one thing I would just add is this is where the board's role as an advocacy arm comes into play because the last legislative session, there was a big conversation around special ed funding. So one of the things I'd love for you to kind of look into and maybe support us next time around in advocating for this is it's a little complicated. I'll try to make it really simple, but it's definitely expensive to provide special ed services. The state caps the money that they give us to provide those services at a certain percentage of our student population that is not currently meeting the need. And so what we've done at a state level is try to advocate that they raise that cap so that the school districts get more resources to better support students. You know, it's hard because there's only so much money to go around and everybody wants their slice of the pie. But that's an example from the board's perspective of something that we continue and will continue to advocate for is more funding to better support students on 504s and IEPs as well. But we do a great job in this district with the resources that we have.
And I'll just share, so that 11% cap, our population is about 17%, which isn't unusual around the state. They haven't moved that cap since
30 years.
30 years, and someone knows that. So they established that 11% cap of special education funding in our state over 30 years ago. And we know that the average in the state is 15+%, and we're about 17 or 18%. And some schools are higher. I mean, we have an elementary school that's about 30% as students with disabilities and IEP. So we're providing the service. We're doing that service anyway. It'd be nice for the state to jump in and help support our kids and our families.
Don, are there opportunities for students or families to get testimony to continue to increase or to advocate for this increase of funding?
There is, right now, there's not, because there's not, legislation is kind of just. But there is opportunities and I can let everyone know when there is, and we're always open to. I advocate a lot up in Salem and across the United States. That's why they keep on asking me. And so I would always be willing to have conversations with anybody. And then I keep a list. Last year, some of our student reps were really wanting to advocate for cell phone. So when that opportunity came, I let them. So if that's something you can do, I can let Ms. Cross know when there's more student opportunities to advocate. And I'd be more than happy to talk more about that in a class setting or something like that.
And I think that's a great example of why we have student reps and I should make sure you get to know them and work with them because they can be your voice in those things as well and help with that advocacy. We can kind of help them help all of you.
And that's how systems work. We need everybody to advocate at the different levels. So if you work together with your amazing student reps and the amazing student reps listen to your student body, because it has to be both ways. Has to be both ways. And then if they can share with us and we can share, it's kind of like phone tag, I guess. You're just continuously putting people in places that can make change. And for example, maybe you're not 18 yet, so maybe you don't have your voice through voting, but you have your voice through reps, through us in other ways. So please always remember how much incredible wisdom you have and how much knowledge, especially firsthand knowledge, because you're in the schools. And connect with people. Those relationships are going to be really, really important because then we're better able to listen to one another. And just like Dawn mentioned, she is in Salem where there's a lot of policies that get made and passed. And if she's not there, nothing's going to happen. But if she's present and constantly advocating for you all, then the chances of her creating positive change increases. And we can't just have one person. This is what we have for lovely student reps, because we keep doing the work alone, we will never be able to do it. So we need to really build this teamwork mentality so we can continue to support one another, because this work is hard. And you know this, because you're students and you live this, so help us make better decisions that really have a positive impact for you. We're here to work for you. Sometimes it seems like we're the board, but really our role is to listen to families and to listen to students and to listen to staff. And we get to be a supportive piece in this process.
Michael, I just remembered something I would like to add on to it. So well said, Nancy, that was awesome. I am going to Washington, DC in the end of January, beginning of February, and we usually have an opportunity to talk to our senators and our representatives, and special ed is always on there. So if there's any stories or any concerns you want me to give to the senators, they usually volunteer me to speak about special ed. I would be more than happy to do that. So if you'd like to contact me again, you can go through Ms. Cross, and I'd be more than happy to relay any concerns to the senators.
And remember the power of the written word. You might not be able to speak to the whole group or whatever, but write these things down. There's newsletters that go out all the time, and testimony from students about including someone from special ed into the classroom or whatever, or your interaction with them goes a long ways when it comes from a student and it's a personal experience.
And not just special ed.
Yeah.
It's whatever interests you may have, but this particular question. So, because I know there's a lot of things that are really, really important for you. So we get to be supportive partners, and we get to learn from you. Earlier, somebody was mentioning, I think it was Javier, you know, there's teaching, and then we are constantly creating opportunities for teachers to learn as well. We get to learn too. So please give us that gift of allowing us to learn and grow and see things differently than we see them, because we only have our own view, but you bring such a beautiful perspective. So please connect with us.
I want to do a quick time check. What time does this period end? It's cross.
I'm checking mine.
Okay, you
Yes, 11:09.
11:09. Okay. So we'll try to get through all the questions. I want to make sure you have a chance to hear your student reps also give their student rep report. So we'll keep going with questions till like 11:04. Give you guys a chance to do your updates. Is that enough time? 5 minutes. You guys are usually far more efficient than our principals. So. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead with the more questions, except for Mr. Song. Yeah.
Where can the public find clear, easy to understand information about the budget, and when our public hearing is held to discuss budget proposals?
Great question.
Yeah.
Someone want to take this one? Okay, we have so every year, I'm trying. every year we pass the budget, and it involves, it's usually in the spring, we start around April or May, is it in here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the best context is, first of all, on our website, there's the budget's on the website, that's required. And there's also a really cool explainer PowerPoint on there that talks about the budget. It's very complicated. It took me several years of board work to feel like I truly understood all of it. And then, so this year, we'll be passing the budget for the 26-27 school year. And so we have our public meeting on May 12th of 2026. The budget committee is made up of every school board member and then an equal number of people who live within the district. So we have 7 board members and 7 budget committee members. The staff brings the budget to us that they recommend. The budget committee looks it over and approves the budget, discusses and approves the budget, and then the board eventually adopts the budget. But all of that's on the website, and I encourage you to come to budget committee meetings. It's really exciting.
I'll just, clear and easy to understand. It's much more difficult than it sounds. K-12 budgets are incredibly complex, and Yasmin Carabinas, who's not here today, but she is our business director, and we are in a good place in this district financially, largely to her accounting and leveraging along with our board and our team making decisions, leveraging all of our funds and trying to maximize every dollar for our students and our families. So it is incredibly complex. We have tried to make a budget 101, which is on our website, that just does 30,000 foot level on what a school budget entails. But it's very complex, and there's so many things that go into it. You have your state school fund that we get from the state. We also apply, and we're fortunate to get a lot of grants in this district. I think we have some needs, and we fit a number of grants, and that takes another accounting measure and reporting and things of that nature. So clear and easy to understand is not like you say. I mean, these board members have been at it a long time, and it's still a lot of questions. Last year, we started to implement some kind of small group understanding the budget, what's coming down the pipe with some board members. And we'll look at doing some of that more with the community as well, because just looking at it, sometimes you don't know what the heck is going on when you just look at it. So thanks for the question. And again, your questions show what you value. And I will be really honest with you, we are going to be in some very challenging times over the next to finish this biennium, which is a 2-year budget cycle, and then going into the 27-29 biennium. So we're going to have to, and these groups of people are going to have to ultimately make some decisions based on what our funding levels are.
One of the most complicated things about the budget is you can have a teacher, for example, whose salary is funded by 5 different sources. And that's one of the reasons is when you look at the budget and you see the breakdown, it's not really clear because all those sources come together to help make it all work. So yeah, clear is challenging, but we do our best. Thank you. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so this question, I'm sure you guys were expecting, but what is the plan with cell phones?
Well, if you stick around, although you have to go to class. So, and by the way, actually, okay, so you all understand like what's happened this summer with the governor and everything. Okay. So first of all, the legislature tried to pass a law. We advocated for some flexibility to allow you all to use your phones during meal periods. No law was passed, but after the legislative session, the governor passed a executive order, which is basically just the governor saying you will do this. And because in the state of Oregon, our governor oversees schools, she believes she has the authority to do that. So she passed the executive order that says we have to pass policy at a board level addressing cell phones. And so we have to pass a policy by October 31st, which is why we're voting on it today. And then the policy has to go into effect by January 1st. So that's what the board is going to be doing today. We are taking up the policy. I think it's on the website, right? If they want to look at the board packet, you can see it. The biggest change from the governor's executive order to what we've been doing in Phoenix High School over the last, well, now going on our second year, is the governor's order says off and away all day, even during meal periods. That has not been the case at Phoenix High School. And so that's the biggest change. What we're trying to do is give our administrators some flexibility, and they do have flexibility within the policy to make some exceptions depending on students' needs. One of those things are 504s and IEPs. So yeah, it's a great example of this kind of conversation that we have a lot of times versus local control versus things that come down from the state. And so we will be taking that policy up in, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. So that's where we're at.
And our board meetings are recorded, so if you want to hear our discussion about it, you can Joe does a great job. You can log into the website and get the discussion.
Yeah, at the September 18th board meeting, I think it was, we had a very lengthy discussion. We kept our staff late that day. So it was a really good discussion on kind of everyone's thoughts on it. One way to think of it, if you all remember COVID, I know you were all in school then. There's a lot of similarities actually. During COVID, the governor was passing a lot of executive orders that we had to follow based on the way the law is structured. And so like with masks and vaccines and things like that, if the board did not comply with that executive order, we personally faced fines and things like that back then. It's not as stringent with this particular issue, but that's like masks and vaccines. That was a similar thing back then with an executive order that the board had to follow. So real fascinating. If you really go study up on who's in charge, well, we're kind of both of us, but it's definitely still the state in many ways.
And this is something that will probably come back to legislation depending on, and if it does, again, I will let Ms. Cross know. I probably spent 5 months advocating against the cell phone bill. So if you ever want to talk about that, we can.
Yeah, and I think if you go, I'll summarize our discussion, but if you have time, go back and watch it. But the board recognizes for all of us, not just for you all, for all humans in existence today, cell phones are a distraction. And so we all have to be conscious of, when it's time to put it away and get some work done or be able to concentrate and learn, and when we need them as a tool. The biggest thing the board took issue with is we felt like, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think I heard it from, we felt like you should be able to use them during meal periods, to be able to check in with your families and things like that. So that piece was frustrating for us. And we know a lot of you, and I think if you're seniors or juniors, you just did a survey, right? A lot of you care for younger siblings or have jobs or have responsibilities at home that require you to be able to check in. And we're aware of that, and we will figure this out together. All right, what else? We got time for probably a couple more.
Hi, my name is Aaron Chavez, and well, first of all, I'm grateful for all the other opportunities and small or big project that you guys are doing to better our community or the school. But I was wondering, what are you doing or what can you do to get more parents involved or informed from all these little things that are going on, because like a whole bunch of people are putting hours, months and so much effort on this stuff, but parents, like some of them might not know it or are aware of it.
Do you guys want to highlight your elementary family engagement, and then we can talk about how it shifts a little bit when you get into middle school and high school, but we have some strategies, some plans to do that too, so.
So when you guys were not in here, but recently Shauna Schleif, who's the principal at Phoenix, and I'm a principal right now in elementary, we just got back last week from a national conference on family engagement and a better understanding. So we've got a learning journey for 3, 4, 5 years about how to really engage deeply in creating better partnerships that really support students and students learning at home and families getting involved in the process. Traditionally, elementary, we have a lot of parent volunteers. We have way more than secondary, right? Because parents are always like, oh, you got this, you're in school at secondary, but there is an absolutely missed opportunity if you're looking to Erin. Good to see you, by the way. To bring families into the fold of education, because I think that, you know, what traditionally we were like home and school, right? Separate. But what we're learning through the research in the field is that without that true partnership where we make decisions together, where we support each other in for the work, we're missing the mark a lot. So what we've done is kind of totally redone all of our family engagement events at school and at the elementary level. So conferences are no longer one-on-one. Our back to school barbecue is not just about barbecue, it's about engaging and learning and inviting families in. So all of the times we have families come on our campuses at elementary is with the intention of engaging families in the academic process, building capacity with our families at home to support your learning. What are the strategies? Like if I'm a kindergarten parent and I've never had my kid go through school, how do I help them, right? Nobody teaches you how to be a parent, yes. So like we're trying to really build that partnership up. And one thing we've also done at elementary is we created leadership teams. So all staff members are on a leadership team. Families are invited to be on leadership teams to help in that decision-making process, because we know without that, can't do anything together, right? It's all of us together. So there's just some of those examples.
And I think just to follow up on that is just asking you, what would help? I mean, you just think of your parents, I mean, busy, I mean, so working so hard just to provide for the family. And when we have events, making sure they're relevant, making sure there's shared learning, things of that nature. It is a little bit different at the middle school and high school. You know, our hope is we engage more families at the elementary, that just continues to, it through middle school and high school, to be engaged and to help support. And we need to hear from your families as well. And so if we do have surveys, or we do ask, you know, how do we spend our student investment account funds, which is another offshoot of the budget, that's who we listen to, is our families and our community and students and staff. So
I would say that, like, I feel like we have in our district a culture of relationship in that we value the feedback, right? Mr. Berry's doors are always open, and that's not normal for a superintendent in that position. Anybody can make an appointment to talk to him. Anybody can make an appointment to talk to Ms. Cross, myself, any of these board members. It's creating a culture of shared respect and understanding that we're here in it together. So
Heather, I really appreciate you using that language of shared respect and seeing people with respect, kindness, and humanity. And something that I constantly advocate. And sometimes I feel bad because I feel like I'm just annoying, in full transparency, but language access. Language access is really, really important. We have some folks that English is not their first language, and it'd be really, really helpful to be able to connect with those families in their language. And that is something that I will continue to advocate for. I don't think we have another high school here in our community that interprets graduation. We do it, and I'm really proud of the fact that we do it. But my hope is, and my hope is that we do that at all of the events, not just graduation. That we're able to do that at, you know, parent nights. And I know that there's a lot of aides that speak Spanish or at conferences. Like I have seen families having to wait so long because they're waiting for the one interpreter that's with one family. And I think that there's still improvement for us. And I love that there is this curiosity and respect that we want to give to families. So we are constantly trying to improve that. And we have a long ways to go, but you are the experts in your experience. We are not. So it's super helpful when we get to hear from you or your families. Come and share with us on how we can do those things better. But John just left, but I love that the new field, there's ramps. There's some people that are elderly that might be difficult. Many of you are athletes. Sometimes people get hurt. And it's some of those things that we really want to improve upon. We really want to improve access. I love that there's a playground over there because I had little kids when my other kids were playing and it was just so nice to have somebody, the little kids have a place to go. So it's those sorts of things that I think it improves engagement because people will say, well, there's something not just for one kid, but there's something for the rest of the kids or for the family members that we get to welcome into this school district. So great question.
I want to make sure our student reps have a chance to do their report for you all. One commitment that I will make is we will go through the rest of the questions that you didn't have time to ask, and we'll answer them in a written form for you and get them back to you. Okay. So thank you for being here today. And student reps, go ahead.
Okay, I will start. Hi, I'm Rachel Pepin. This is my second year on the school board as student representative. And for Accentuate the Positive today, I just have to mention, shout out to our seniors. We had an amazing night of competition last night for our Human and Powder Puff games. There was a lot of competition though. It was not as easy as we were expecting. Good competition from every grade. The parade that we had also went phenomenal. It was very on time and very clean and just a lot easier to be a part of. On the cheer team, it was a lot more organized for us to be able to walk and not be like, oh my God, where are we going? When do we need to be there? Like everything was set and ready to go. So that was amazing. Thank you to the community and all of our officers that helped set that up. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought for us today.
Hi, my name is Lincoln Potocznik. I'm a senior here at the board. And I just wanted to piggyback off what Rachel said. Yesterday went great. The He-Man and Powder Puff game, the energy was so hype. I don't think I've ever heard the gym be that loud. And I saw so many students that don't usually participate in like spirit events or the assembly games on the floor playing He-Man. And it was really cool to see all of them playing. And the grade levels are all just so competitive. And it's really cool to ever see everyone so like hyped up and ready to go. Everyone was cheering and it was super loud. We also did a different fundraiser last night. The leadership team, we sold homemade burgers that we had made. We had the fire department come out. Yeah, well, they were really good. I know Romeo ate like 3 or 4. Loved them, and they seemed to go really well. And it was super cool just to bring the fire department in and have that fundraiser gone. And it was a big hit.
Kind of like piggybacking on what you said, there was a lot of excitement yesterday, and there's also a lot of excitement, especially for the underclassmen for homecoming tomorrow. Also, on the 24th of this month, there's going to be a leadership symposium at SOU. Some upperclassmen were invited to attend, and there even are like scholarship opportunities for them.
I just want to talk about
Thank you.
that we are doing Socktober, and so each grade level tries to get as many socks as they can into these bins, and we're all very competitive. But also really cool that we're bringing the students in to donating to other people that don't have as much, and that we're kind of showing that through games and things like that.
I have one more thing to add. Tomorrow is our homecoming football game. It is our last home game, but it's also our senior night. So it would be great if anyone could come. There's going to be a halftime performance, and we'll be announcing the homecoming court and recognizing all of our seniors. So we really appreciate it if you guys can make it out to that.
And volleyball senior night tomorrow.
Volleyball senior night is tonight.
Tonight, sorry.
Yeah.
Tonight.
We're playing.
Hidden Valley.
Thank you all for the amazing questions. Mr. Berry was right. Those were, you guys, every year you set the bar even higher and really, really appreciate it all.
You want to recognize Miss Robin. She has a really busy week and so.
Miss Robin.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. Oh, she's.
They're doing homecoming halftime on her song. A group of these.
Right, okay. You all class kids?
Got a class.
Okay, go for it, yeah. Thanks for coming. Okay.
That's the first, if I know my parents for this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Do we have anyone online who wishes to provide citizens comment?
There was no one earlier and there still is not.
Okay, got it. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the board? I think so. By the way, principals, you know that I adore you, right? I was just joking about that. I love your accentuate the okay, we have, the PTA, or yeah, PTA wasn't able to make it today. They did, email an update they asked me to read, and I told them I would. I'm gonna do that now. This is from Sandra Tringlow. See if I can, an email will load.
Michael, I have it in board book.
You have it, oh, you do.
I do.
Oh, it's in board book, sweet. And thank you, Diana. Okay, our members are looking forward to the full day at the end of Q1, focus on grading and reporting. We are glad that remains as part of our protected time in the CBA. One concern we have is discrepancy in kindergarten class sizes across the district, particularly with TES having kinder class sizes of 27, which is well above the guidelines set in contract. We're looking forward to continuing to work with the district to problem solve this issue. We have had a good start to the year with building level and district level labor management and appreciate the communication and problem solving that occurs with this process. Thank you. That is the update from TEA. Thank you. And yeah, I know we have a really big kindergarten class, so appreciate all the efforts to problem solve that. Okay, superintendent report.
Thank you, Chair Campbell.
Took a while, but we're here.
No, we are. As you heard today is National Bosses Day. I just want to thank you for your support and advocacy. I know there's superintendents and staff around the state who don't necessarily have the authentic support and care and trust. And so I really appreciate that and thank you for allowing us to do our job and put people in the right place to carry out the mission in this district. So thank you for that. Wanted to share, Mike DeRost is taking the marching band to Napa High School in Napa, California, November 7th through the 9th. They've been doing that for years and years. And it's such a cool event. And I happened to be down there one weekend, shoot, this probably 16, 17 years ago, and ran into the band in Deer Dairy Square and just they were having a great time. And I know there's a competition as well. So I really appreciate all the hard work that goes into that. This month is National Principal Month. We did share some goodies and honored our building leaders at an administrative team meeting earlier in the month. I just want to publicly thank them. What you see is what you get with them. They are truly servant leaders for our kids and our families in this community. And you see that every day in our building. So thank you to the building leadership who help carry out and support our mission every day. In your packet, I have a few different just informational handouts. One being first student, that's a transportation update. And I think in that flyer doesn't tell all the story, but I think we are very close to having more drivers and buses for the first time in many, many years. Janelle and her team are bringing on some great people. I think that the professional development and training they provide is amazing, and it's been a good partnership, obviously, and oftentimes no news is good news, and we haven't heard too many bus issues this year. So thank you to Janelle and her work there. I also put in some guidelines Pace put out. You probably saw that about speech rights and it's for students and staff and school boards. And so there's some appreciate that Oregon school boards taking the lead on that and an initiative to get that information out to all school districts in our state. Finally, Project Youth Plus has a flyer there that talks about some information and features Rachel on the front of that flyer. And so thank you for their partnership and all they provide for our students and our kids that were really looking for extended opportunities beyond high school. And I'm hopeful we'll get through this agenda in a timely manner, but about 12:20-ish, I have a meeting at SOU I need to get to by 1. And so I might have to duck out early, but I'm hopeful we'll get through that. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Mr. Berry?
I do
Yeah,
have one.
go for it.
On the PACE handouts, did you hand them out to the schools as well, so the teachers?
We sent them to our administrative team, but we'll make sure that they have them for our staff meetings. And that's a good partnership with our association to make sure that they can help review some of that as well.
Because right now, that's the #1 question that PACE gets daily. And it has ramped up the calls quite a bit, as you can imagine.
Okay.
So it's something that PACE
Yeah, thank you.
is passionate. And on the PACE board, I have to push it because
Absolutely.
that's my job.
Great, thank you, Mr. Berry. Next is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Nancy. Any objections? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Next is information and discussion. Don provided an email update. It's got a lot of good, well, it's not all good, but it's email. There's an Oregon legislature report in there, but do you have anything else to add, Tom?
I saw that Denise had put in lots of stuff. I was just gonna say that yesterday, an email went out by OSBA that there was a little bit of confusion about the board of directors spot. Originally, we were said that it was appointed, but Linnell, our wonderful admin assistant, read the bylaws and found out that we cannot appoint the board of director position for Southern Oregon, that it has to be nomination. So we're doing a quick 1 month open for nominations and 1 month voting. The email was sent out to everybody. We'll talk about it on Monday, but starting yesterday, the nominations are open until November 14th. So it's a pretty close thing. What that means is that there can be another board of directors for, this is a 2-year spot while I am president and past president. So that I'm still gonna be on board of directors, promise they won't kick me off yet. I went to Utah with the NSBA and I just wanted to say that it was the Pacific region, so that's Alaska, Oregon, Washington, Utah, and Nevada. And it was all the executive teams of the presidents of the association and the vice presidents and so on. And it's really good to get together to hear. Sometimes we're all in the same stage, but sometimes they're a stage ahead of us, or sometimes they're a stage behind us. And working together to come up for solutions to kind of have a West Coast voice is really important. And it's really nice to be in that setting and be able to talk about things. And everyone is so nice and trusting. You can just say it how it is, and everyone will just be there. And then everything else I've been covering in the emails that I sent out, and then we'll have our meeting on Monday at Ashland Hills, and there's gonna be a lot of discussion and a lot of things that you're gonna learn.
Awesome. Thank you. If you haven't let Denise know, let her know if you're gonna make it Monday. I did, so.
Or if you have food restrictions in your.
Yes, not even seafood, I told her. Yeah.
I just want to say that interim session report is from our consultants, Greg, who advocates for us up in the legislature, and we had kind of a discussion a couple weeks ago on this short session. There are absolutely, sounds like, no fiscal bills that will be allowed to get through on the floor in the short session, which is understandable, so.
Yes. Yes, read that email from Dawn if you haven't already about the pretty unprecedented asks happening right now about looking at mid-year cuts. So very concerning and yeah,
I just wanna say thank you to Denise for including that
yes.
in the board book. It just makes it so much easier and I am incredibly grateful for your organizational skills and how you just make things incredibly easily accessible. And you have this beautiful wisdom that you're constantly thinking, how can I help this process? And I'm just really grateful. Thank you.
Denise loves board book.
I do.
And just to let you all know, sometimes Denise doesn't put it in the board packet because I forget to give it to Denise. Because when I send it out, it only sends out to our region and I have to separately remember to then send it out to Denise. So sometimes it's my fault why I do this.
I love this accountability. Dan.
Okay, next is OSBA Legislative Policy Committee nomination. So this is just basically letting us know who the candidates are and then we'll take action at our next meeting. Is that right? Okay.
And I would just real quick, I would recommend, I think all three candidates are gonna be there Monday. I think they're all gonna have a quick time to
Oh,
talk.
great.
But also, if you feel free to go talk to them during mingling time if you wanna know more about them. I encourage you to do that and so we can make a good decision. All three are good candidates and I think it would be good that you all have maybe a chance to know them.
And I just might want to make a comment. It just doesn't happen that we have three good candidates for that. I think Dawn has done a lot of advocacy and reaching out and getting that because that, we've kind of held that role and for many, many years and not much participation around our region. So thanks Dawn for those outreaches to get people involved.
And I underscore that you are an incredible community mobilizer and you represent our region so well. And I'm just grateful that you have the time and capacity to do this, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of work that we never get to see behind the scenes. But yeah, like what a wonderful challenge that we have three really great candidates. But a lot of it has to do with your organization, this accessibility for people to come to you and ask questions. And you oftentimes have such a generous heart to say, how can I help you? You are so incredibly involved that you have a lot of information and knowledge on how the wheels just kind of continue to spin. So thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Richard.
Yeah. Thanks for your family.
Okay, audit committee appointment. Do we need to appoint Rick or is that just assumed? Maybe do we vote on that?
All are required.
Well, and that's a great thing when you're not present.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did agree to it. Yeah. Is there?
He said he would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to, he has. Is there anybody else who would like to serve that committee? It's basically one meeting with the auditors. Do we know when they're gonna meet yet, or? Is it
Typically, it's in December, but we have that, they're gonna be doing the full audit next week. And so
Okay.
we'll see kind of what kind of a timeline.
Okay. I could possibly do it if no one wants to, but.
It's really helpful to know. I'm glad that you asked that question. It's
Yeah.
helpful to know like what the time commitment is.
Yeah, it's basically one hour meeting.
Yeah, and we can do it separated. I mean, we can do it, even try to schedule it depending on who's in that during the lunch or after work or Zoom. So and it's I don't know, it's really informative in there. Helps understand what the audit process is and what it is probably too.
I don't think we need to decide today.
We can even bring this back and say, hey, this is the week we're looking at doing this. After, per se, does this week work for people and what are the best
Yeah.
times? So, I mean, Rick, obviously, but it's nice to have another board member.
Yeah, I can do it. I just want to give other people an opportunity. I will make it work, I should say. Yeah, okay, inter-district transfer report.
This is, well, in my time here, this is definitely the best inter-district transfer report we have seen. And you look, just overall in the 25-26 totals, we are plus 37 just this year. And if you look at, what that looked like last year, you know, we were negative. And so that's a huge, lift. I know many appeals have come to the board and we've held firm on kind of the stance about hardships, and it's making a difference. And we know that we provide a great space for kids and families and believe in our schools and want to make sure that they understand that and hold that line on those hardship transfers. So thank you for that support. Thank you for your dedication to that. And as you heard from Kent earlier, word's getting around that we provide a pretty good service, and I imagine we will have more in slots. Just look at our, you know, we're up in slots. We're plus from just last year. You look at that total of 161 students overall in the last couple of years. So, thank you, Denise. I know this is not, along with Monique in our office, these are, it takes a lot of time and organization and dedication to make sure that we communicate with all our families and get these numbers right. And it's nice to show some positive trends.
Yeah, and I think, you know, holding the line, as it were, is really about fairness and consistency for families. That's really what it comes down to is, yes, we're holding to the standard, but we're doing that so that we are fair and consistent to everybody who has a request. That's huge.
And just of note, I mean, I will say we've had a number of, sometimes up 20 plus, kindergartners asking for childcare transfers out, and that number drastically reduced. And I have to say it's because we have preschool option at Town Elementary. We don't have as many families going to preschool in Ashland and then making connections for childcare. So that's a huge investment. Appreciate the partnership with the Ashland Y, and it was good to see those numbers come in and kind of come true what we were thinking.
Okay, board meeting calendar review. What this should really say is Michael's request to change some board days. So I got a job in a neighboring district, and one of the requirements of my job is to attend board meetings, which often conflict with our board meetings. So I'd like to remain active on our board. One of the things that would help me do that is if you look at this calendar that I've provided, if we are able, so it's basically 5 dates, February and March. There's some dates later this year, 2025, I might have a conflict that I might just have to miss, or I can work something out with my employer, but there's the 2 meetings in February, the 2 in March, and then 1 meeting in May. If we can shift those to Wednesday, and I don't take this request lightly, but it was hard to even kind of bring this. But if that's something you are all amenable to, that would be greatly appreciated. Just to shift those from the second or the first and third Thursday to the first and third Wednesday of those particular 5 dates. So I'm not going to participate in any more discussion, but you are welcome to discuss. And then if there's if people are open to that, we can bring it for action at the next. Let me go to you all.
Fine either way. That's fine. Maybe I go back to parks.
I have one slight conflict, but I don't 100% know. But I think that would be fine because if I miss one, it's fine.
Yeah, I recognize the domino effect, and I'm very sensitive to all of your schedules. so.
Yeah, I might be going to a PACE thing and we'll see what my travel,
Got it.
yeah, so I can maybe do it online, I don't know yet.
Okay, got it.
And just to put a plug in, as we start looking at the calendar next year, we can obviously get some, things in place, whether that. In that neighboring district didn't used to always be, they were on Mondays for years
I
and
know.
years, and they just recently moved it to the first and third Thursday. And so we can look at if we want to keep it on
Everybody wants to do
Thursday,
what we
second,
do.
fourth Thursday, so.
Yes.
Well, thank you, yeah.
Well, I appreciate the consideration and the opportunity and, I think it's cool that they were supportive of me remaining in this role and, as long as I can work out the scheduling conflict, so appreciate the consideration. Do we want to do a recess? Were you all planning on sticking around for cell phone fireworks or? Yeah. I don't know, there'll be fireworks, but there could be, yeah, yeah.
Got you there.
Do we want to just proceed through, or do we want to take a quick break? Does everyone need a break?
Break.
Okay, 5-minute break, we'll come back. 5 minutes is really 10 and it's school board recess. So, okay, our next action item, or first action item is this waiver for higher ed and career obstacles. Do you wanna?
Yeah, just a reminder from last time we had this discussion is it's just kind of an insurance policy. We don't know what the budgets are gonna happen the next biennium. We are gonna teach financial literacy here next semester. We don't have the teacher in the room right now. And we plan on doing the career in college outline for our students, but we don't know what that will look like in a year or two. And so we're hoping for a waiver just in case we have some challenges implementing that for the 2027 graduates.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the application for a waiver to grant a 1-year extension of graduation requirements and implementing the Senate Bill 3.
Second.
Thank you, Rebecca. Discussion? Okay. Appreciate the efforts to provide this. I do think it's important. I think we all recognize, we talk about it all the time, unfunded mandates. And from what I understand, this gives you the flexibility. And I know that you're working towards making sure we're also meeting the requirements. So thank you for that. Okay, we will vote. I'll start down here with Dawn.
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Holly?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
I vote yes. Waiver's approved. Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for since July. Board policy, JFCEB, personal electronic devices. Yeah, there's lots of stuff in here. Do we want to start with a motion and then we can have some discussion from there?
I move to approve board policy JFCEB, personal electronic devices as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Polly. Thank you, Diana. Discussion, hearing none, we will vote. Should we just go ahead and let you go first? Or?
First, and the students have things to say too, by the way.
Good, I'm.
Can we
look
start
forward-
here? Start with leaders?
Yeah, let's start with our students. That's a great idea.
Quick question, what
Yeah.
did you all just approve?
We didn't approve.
We didn't approve anything.
Oh,
We motioned and we second and now we're discussing and then we're gonna vote.
Nothing has been approved. Though.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was looking through it. And I saw that there was the request for personal electronic devices exception. Is this only available to students that have an IEP and a 504, or are there other exceptions available?
That's a great question.
That's actually the AR that she's referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was the three things on the second.
Yeah, so if you look at the AR, I interpret these to be pretty broad. So if you look at especially the second and third check mark on there. Accommodate the individual circumstances of the student. And then the next one, further specific educational outcomes for the student. We interpret those to be pretty broad, and it's our desire, I don't want to speak to everybody, but what we're considering today would give our admin flexibility to make those determinations. Does that make sense? Okay. What else? Good question.
And then would that also be like if somebody had at home thing going on, like that would also work for that too?
I would think so. Do you wanna weigh in on that?
Like PTRA you're talking about,
Yeah, like if,
the
yeah,
online school?
no, like if, there's something going on at home where they need to have access to their phone.
Yeah,
I don't know, you'd make a special accommodation for that.
to me, that falls under the individual circumstances of the student. I don't know if you wanna weigh in on that at all, but. or
Yeah,
if you-
so I imagine, what would happen is we would create like an internal process of how students might be able to bring those things to our attention. That would probably be housed in like the counseling or student services department, right? Because those are oftentimes the staff members that students are kind of divulging that information to. And then we can create a process, with that, and I think that, yeah, that gives us a little bit of space to do those things.
Do we need to have a mic for Kaylin, whoever?
Sorry, there's
I'm
one
just
over
thinking
here.
about that.
Thank you.
You might need it. for
Because
the start,
online,
but-
when you watch it later, which
Yeah.
I did for the last meeting, is sometimes hard to hear.
Yeah, thank
for
you.
sure.
You want me to repeat next time?
You might, because if
Okay.
their students are watching it back, they might not want to know that.
Yes, thank you. So what I said was that we would create an internal process for a situation like that, that would most likely be held inside of our student services department. As students are most often divulging some of that information to their counselors, or maybe even a grad coach who would then probably connect the student with a counselor, and that would help us be able to determine those individual situations.
Just,
Someone else can go, then you can think of it.
Alright, well, so you guys mentioned that this was from bell to bell and it's gonna take effect in 2026. How do you guys plan on, I know this is a question for Ms. Cross, but how do you guys plan on implementing this like halfway through the year? Cause that seems like kind of a difficult transition. And like, how are you gonna enforce that? Cause students are not gonna appreciate that change.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, I can just
Yeah,
take
yeah.
a little bit, I mean, it's definitely gonna take a lot of communications, once we have a policy in place and know that we have to implement it. When we come back in January, we'll probably front load a lot of that information, as we go for break and then do a lot of reminders. As we come back from break, and I know that's, anything with the new policy, new rule. We implemented a new cell phone policy last year, and I know there was some, some, maybe some growing pain, but some, understanding of, hey, this is the expectation, and just really a lot of communication and a lot of clarifying what is appropriate and what's not appropriate. I don't know if you want.
That's exactly what I would say.
Okay.
Are we implementing any of like the bags or boxes that phones have to go into, or is it just it needs to be out of sight? Not in pockets, like in backpacks or in your car or in a locker, or is there like those like timed like Ziploc bags?
We are not, you can know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we. I'm just saying, you're happy about that. I will say, when we had like a listening session with staff here at the high school, those were discussed a lot. And I think everyone was kind of curious about them, but they present a lot of logistical challenges too. And one of the biggest things is just like imagining students lined up to unlock a pouch. We had safety concerns about that too, so, I think it was, it's a great idea, the idea of just eliminating the temptations, like why I try not to buy donuts and keep them in my house. But, they're also expensive, so I think they're like $20 to $25 a piece, so we opted just for, and I think it's pretty broad in terms of just
Yeah.
needs to be put away somewhere.
What about if there's students that are leaving campus for lunch?
Yeah,
And
doesn't apply. Viewing campus.
I was gonna say, how are we supporting the teachers with these students giving a lot of backlash and things like that? And I think it's gonna be very difficult for them, and like, how are we gonna help them through that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think one of the important things to remember is that the change really has to do around meal periods. We already have something in place that says we don't use them in class unless it's for a specific educational purpose. But this came up too in our discussion, and it's many of the same ways we always support. But I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit more, Ms. Cross or Mr. Barry. Just about supporting
I
staff.
think just in general, I mean, it's about consistency too, about all the adults in here, just, understanding the policy, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and everybody kind of holding that line, and it makes it easier for the entire staff to be able to, enforce it, just hold people accountable on, yeah, we are out of sight, out of, cell phone policy during instructional time,
I did modeling.
Mhm.
Behavior.
I have one more question. For the request form, the proposed form, is this able to be filled out like by a student, or can it only be filled out by the parent? Because it does have the parent or guardian name and phone number, but is that able to be filled out by a student if they're not with their parents or guardians? How are they gonna be able to fill this out?
That's a great question.
I was sure there would be some avenue for that. Because we have that situation in our school right now. Yeah. And then speaking.
I have a question. So if this were like, for the exception, if somebody were to fill it out and they could use their phone like during class, for example, like for the Bible or like any medical reason, how will teachers know that that student is like able to use the phone during class?
That's also a concern of mine. Like, how would they know? Or how do they keep track of that?
Each student, let me ask this question, when my kids were in school, each student's IEP was gone to each teacher. And so the teacher knew, and then my son also advocated and let the teachers know that he was on the IEP so that they could. Cause sometimes the teachers want to set things up, they read the IEP, but then they wanna know what's best, so. I think we'll just have to work on communication, but in theory, every teacher should know what child is on IEP.
And then you bring up a really important question, and it makes me think of, well, the teacher might know which student, how do we also normalize it and convey to the rest of the students? Because otherwise it'll create this discrepancy and it'll create this like, well, why do they get right without really outing people's private 501 plan or IEP or anything else. So I'm really grateful that you asked that question, because as we're thinking about how do we roll it out, how do we massage the messaging so it can be so we are all under the same understanding with the same language. I think that that's a really, really important highlight. So we can be really thoughtful about how do we protect, again, that individual's privacy while also not, why is so-and-so able, why are they able to use the phone and not us? So thank you, that's a really great consideration.
I think the other thing is like exploring alternatives that exist to a cell phone. I think that work is already happening now, but just, hey, yeah, you need to be able to do this. Can your Chromebook do that? Or can some other device do that for you?
Pager.
A pager, no, maybe not, I don't even know.
Because of payphone.
Yeah, well, like Chromebooks or, translation devices, things like that. I know are things that already exist, but That's why it's important. And this is where I think you guys can lead in setting the example for your classmates of, you never know what somebody's circumstance is, so I think if we all worry about ourselves. And model that as a leadership principle, that will help. Set the tone in class too for what's going on.
I also think that it would be a good, a compliment if we were able to put in another telephone in the office that students could use to call home. Because right now there's only one and they have to like ask to use it. And it's like, oh wait, I don't know the parents' phone number, blah, blah, blah. But if we were able to have another phone in the office that students could use to call home, I think that would be really beneficial.
When did we have problems on the really has? It was really bad.
Mr. Berry, write that down.
Excellent.
He'd probably be happy to take his phone from him.
And the British red. I would also say another concern is substitutes. The teachers might not know, but the substitutes might not. And I know when my child was in school, that's when the bad days happened, when the substitutes did not know the IEP plan and did not understand. So I think that's something we'll have to be really cautious about.
I know something I was hearing a lot of people saying is that, there's a lot of blocks on Chromebooks, and so when they're like doing projects and stuff like that, they're like, oh, I can't research this or whatever. So then they just end up doing it at lunch with their phone or things like that, and they can't do it at home because they have sports or whatever. So I don't know. And then when you request to have it unblocked, it takes a really long time, and I don't think you get a reply or something, but it does get a little bit confusing.
That's really good feedback.
There's like really random websites that are blocked that our teachers are like, oh, go on this website and do this. We can't do the assignment because it's blocked.
Yeah.
IT.
We look into that. Yeah, that's really good feedback. I think that's a good example. Sometimes good things can come from things that are a pain in the butt. Like that, right? Like we want to keep our IT safe and secure for all of you, but we also want it to be able to work for you,
Feel good.
Yeah, in the way, yeah. In the way.
Have a response time that's in a timely manner.
Yeah, the timing of it and what it looks like, and I just, so you know how that works, if they get that information, sometimes they have to get back with the teacher or the administration and say, hey, this is an appropriate device for your curriculum. And that does take some time when you need to have it in 2 minutes.
Yeah. I think another thing that would be beneficial with this coming into place is, I don't know if this is a board or a school thing, but improving the Wi-Fi connection. Because the Chromebooks take a really long time to connect and will often disconnect and then connect again. But if I'm in the middle of an AP test, it loses my support. And so I think improving the Wi-Fi connection, especially if there's another like communication that we're gonna implement to the Chromebooks, then it would be really important to have a stable connection for that. And just school life in general.
Yeah, great.
Mine has dropped a couple of
Yeah.
times. So, yeah.
It's rough.
And this school opened in the end of 2020-ish. And so our tech department continues to reevaluate every couple of years about where our Wi-Fi connection is, where the strengths are, but we're only good as the information that we do receive and say, is this part of the building? I mean, still the old section of the gyms in the theater. I don't know if we will ever crack through those cinder block walls, but we do have some different, technologies that can enhance some Wi-Fi in different areas.
There's definitely certain classrooms where it's like, I cannot connect with my English classroom. And we're always on our computers running class. So
What's a good mechanism exists now for students to share that feedback? And could we have like a ticketing system that could go to IT that students can say, just real quick, my Wi-Fi cut out in this classroom, and that way IT can gather.
I would say that would be the teacher in that classroom to do that. I mean, that's a pretty easy, we can get on, there's a pretty slick ticketing system to tech.
Okay.
Or maintenance facilities for that matter.
Okay.
And just say, hey, can you just, and maybe it's just, can you check this out? There might be a situation where we had a power outage and a switch was, turned off, and sometimes we understand that. I will tell you, John's not here, but we have some technology on our roof here that's actually been out for a couple months in our lab, that it didn't signal us, and so that will get replaced next week. We were just in a meeting about that, and so that could be why some of these Wi-Fi connections are having some challenges, but it was actually through our safety meeting, and Rebecca heard that yesterday too, that we have cell phone technology and Wi-Fi we have some really good technology, but if it's not on, or if it's not working, or if it's disabled, we just need to address it. So that part's been ordered, it'll be better. So hopefully we'll see some improvement just with that, and if not, we'll continue to monitor that.
I believe John said that part won't be here till next week.
We tried to update you about that, but it wasn't working for you. That's, I mean, that's really good. So that's good feedback, make sure, I'm sure you teach your spirit, but, not everybody knows about everything, right? So if you have that happen, you can say to your teacher, hey, can you file a ticket with IT that's, lets them know that the Wi-Fi didn't work? That way, that information is getting back.
Is there a way for students to directly do that? Because teachers have a lot on their plates, and I'll give them a paper and they'll be like, oh, it's gone. I don't know where the paper is, so if they can't have a physical thing and always keep track of it, having just a mental note of this student and this student in these class periods, he needs to send a message, and it's gonna get lost.
We can kind of brainstorm a process in that regard.
For the librarian. And they should be able to put in tickets for students. But yeah, there isn't a way at the moment for students to directly.
Yeah. So we could look at different avenues with other people that have insight on that, could submit a ticket. Or see about students.
Great. Anything else?
I have a question just about the executive order, just about like your guys' understanding, because I don't know all the background on it. It said that the purpose was to support student mental health, reduce distractions, and promote safe and focused learning environment. Is there any research behind this order that shows that it would support students' mental health instead of decrease it? Absolutely.
Good question. I asked for research about not allowing them during meal periods, and they didn't have any for me. But there is a lot of research on the effects of technology and mental health. I think a really good book I'd recommend is The Anxious Generation. Other than that, I don't know, did the governor cite specific research?
The governor did not, but I have done a deep dive into this, and there are podcasts out there that are pro the anxious generation and then against. There's a really good one with two mothers that are pediatricians that talk about their concerns on this, and so you can find it if you want help finding those podcasts, because I listen to podcasts because I'm usually driving. There's a lot of information, and you can go on whatever site you listen to podcasts and put in like cell phone in school, and all these podcasts will show up. Now, again, podcasts are podcasts, so the actual data behind them is different, but like if you look I assume two pediatricians are going to have more than, somebody on, a McDonald's worker or something. So, look into that, but there's a lot of information on podcasts, and they're very helpful. But I don't know if the governor read the podcast.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot. Are you all familiar with the concept of like peer reviewed research? I'm sure, especially AP. So I think that's important too. I think there is some pretty substantial peer reviewed, which means somebody does a research and then multiple people weigh in and kind of validate that the process was, go ahead.
I think too, it would be really interesting to see if this topic is something that's gonna be coming up at OASC in the next couple of weeks. I don't think that you guys will be the only students at that, at the table there that will have questions about what is happening there. So it would be a really good opportunity for you to exchange and network with some other students in other schools who are facing, I mean, this is a statewide situation, so kind of seeing how other schools are doing it, to gather some feedback.
Yeah.
Could be really beneficial,
For
and I
sure.
think like the work to be well pieces will definitely probably be bringing this up, so that's why I bring it up around the.
I think that it is, this is a really good opportunity for people to have conversation back and forth, and that's actually really highly needed in these times. Because I think that there's pros and cons in every which direction. I can see why the governor would have cited mental health. There's a lot of bullying, it's so distracting. We're so fixed on like this date, and there is tons and tons of research around how distracted we are. And this is an effort to support students, be more focused, to give you the best opportunity, this learning opportunity. And there's also very valid points that sometimes we want our phones to be connected for the important things, and things kind of get muddled, right? The really valuable aspect gets muddled with the less than desirable aspects of technology and internet and connection. So I'm grateful that you have so many questions, and I think it's really critical for us to continue to have multiple points of views that really allow us to have dialogue so we can come together for a mutual benefiting solution. Because I know that this is intended to be well, and it's also challenging, just like so many things.
Is there a resource for parents to, voice their concerns,
Right.
about this and like about their situations and things like that, and what they are concerned about?
There's many, but for this particular thing, what we think the best.
I mean, I think we can, when we do our communication to families and say, hey, this is the policy we're adopting. Or not adopting, whatever you said, that we can kind of give them resources. They can always come to a board meeting and do public comment on that, and that's what this board will hear. And then there's probably an avenue that they can have some state advocacy as well, and we can share some of those things that may come up.
Are we able to have like town hall meetings where people can actually engage in dialogue? Because in board meetings, and it's super weird because they can speak and we can't respond. So it feels disconnected, but I'm curious if we might be open to having some sessions where people can come and get information. We can verbally share what these processes might be. We can answer questions, because sometimes it's just about us processing this anxiety. Like we hear something new, and oftentimes human nature is to like, oh, that's so scary. And in reality, if we understand it better, or we can give verbal reassurance of there's actually a thought out process, there's this avenue, if you really need to get a hold of your student, or your student needs to get a hold of you, what does it mean? We were able to get into the weeds, that might be beneficial, but I also acknowledge that takes time, more time, and from administrators and parents and so forth, that it's possible that we can do that.
I think that would be really beneficial. I was invited to a city council meeting by the mayor of Phoenix not that long ago, and it was really cool that they were able to like engage in discussion. So I think if we had like a group of parents or some that wanted to voice their concerns, I think that would be a really good place for that.
And sometimes we just want to be heard, right, and not dismissed. And I think that I struggle with the structure of board meetings and people giving public comment. And I know that that's the way it's intended to be, but it just feels weird. I'm going to share this, and then there's no response. I don't think it's very human centered. So my hope is that we can have opportunities for people to come, connect, be heard, express. I'm not saying that changes people's points of view, but at least there's some sort of dialogue and engagement where we can bring people in to help us even think about better solutions that we might not have thought about.
I have one more comment. about a possible solution. Not solution, but that kind of building off of the adding an extra phone. Was to be to have like, pretty much like a phone booth, because if it's something so dire that you need to talk to your parent about it while you're at school, it's not something that I want to be talking about in the middle of the office with students and teachers around. But also if we have one phone booth and there's 3 students that need to talk to their parents right then and there about an emergency, they're gonna feel really antsy just waiting for this phone booth. So I think there's gonna have to be like a few different like quiet rooms or something that we can offer to students to have private phone calls in.
For sure. First of all, I love the going, like, reminds me of when I was in high school. Phone booths or pay phones. But I think this is where, and I think this is just if I may, before we go to vote on this, I've gone full circle on this policy. I got in trouble at an OSBA event for you know, speaking out against the just kind of heavy-handed nature of it and the inability for us to really have any flexibility at all. You know, I think Dawn wants to vote no. I don't know what she's gonna do today, but I think, but I think just, I wanna say my piece because I think it speaks to what you're talking about. And where I've landed now is that we have a lot of important things to focus on. I trust Ms. Cross and Ms. Ochoa and Mr. Joy and the staff at Phoenix High School to support you all, so that if you have something that comes up and you need to make a phone call, I trust that you can communicate that to a staff member and that you'll be granted the flexibility to take care of what you need to take care of, especially in an urgent situation. I mean, we can certainly look into the phone booth idea, but I think a simpler idea is just, let's just use common sense about this. That includes during meal periods. I trust that Ms. Cross and her team and our staff, who have far more important things to do during meal periods, by the way, than walk around enforcing whether you're on your phone or not. I trust that they will manage this in a student-centered way and in a way that makes sense. And so, to me, I've kind of resigned myself that we just kind of have to jump through the hoops and do what the governor told us to do. As far as what that looks like in reality for you all on a day-to-day basis, I trust you all that you know, that you can work that out and that it makes sense. I'm certainly not gonna be showing up at lunch, you know, looking for students on their phone, I can guarantee you that. So I think, you know, it's a valid point. We can look into those things. I think the extra phone in the office is a great idea. I mean, you guys, it'd be kind of cool to find a phone, like an old phone booth and put a phone in there, but yeah, the red phone booth idea is pretty cool. You guys can decorate it. Yeah, construction could build you one, right?
And it would be like some cozy room.
Yeah, I love this idea. I love this idea. And
She's like, now I want the phone booth. Great, I don't ever want to.
I wanna say that, you know, I also trust our staff to be able to manage those situations, and I trust all of you that you will, you know, I think you have. I think you all have done a good job the last year and a quarter, of managing this, so. Yeah, so I'm going to vote yes, just because I feel like, once again, you know, our hands are tied, but again, I trust our staff to manage this in a way that makes sense.
Thank you for hearing that.
Of course, I appreciate all the thoughtful suggestions and questions.
I have concerns, but I just have concerns surrounding the disciplinary actions. Just, are we already doing these things, or like, we're taking people's personal items and holding them in the office? Is that something that's already being done?
It's the same as what's
Okay.
already on there.
Seems weird, but fine. Oh, yeah.
At the last board meeting, I was not here, but I did watch it online, and there was talk about polling during the, I don't know what you call it, I want to call it homeroom. just outside. Advisory, the students, but I didn't see any report on what happened with that, or if we did that, and I feel. I have talked to a few students about this to see what the pulse is and also with staff, but I don't know if we actually did that or what the end result was.
Dan, I thought you sent that out to everybody.
I actually only sent it to you.
Oh, shoot.
So sorry.
That's my fault.
I'm bad, guys. But you can generalize, yeah.
So first of all, it actually isn't my own fault. I dropped the ball on that. I was supposed to have that done a couple of weeks ago, and then when the board meeting got canceled, I was like, oh, I'll take care of that later. So I apologize. But I did send that out. I'm gonna find it right now. So essentially it was a 2-question survey. We just had our juniors and seniors fill it out, an advisory, on Wednesday, yesterday. But we could get information from freshmen and sophomores if needed. The questions were just, are you responsible for, younger siblings after school? Yes, no, or occasionally. And are you responsible for, transporting student or younger siblings to events like practices, etc. Same options, yes, no, occasionally. And what it said, caring for younger siblings, we had 107 responses. About 50% of students do care for younger siblings after school, and about like 36% are responsible for transporting younger siblings, either yes or occasionally. And I can send that to you all.
So like 107 out of how many people answered this?
We have about 150 seniors. Oh, sorry, juniors and seniors. We have about 250, yeah, of that, so.
It's probably pretty representative of American.
Yeah. So are you ready for my comments?
Go for it, John. I've been waiting months for your comment.
Okay, so I think you shared a lot at the last meeting, but I have several concerns about this. One is, it's unfunded, even if I have utmost trust on the staff, but it's putting a bigger burden on them. Even having the phone, the room for phone, I think all these ideas are great, but I keep on thinking staff time, money time. And we need to be spending staff time and money time on other things than cell phones. I mean, student scores, getting kids ready for a career in college, the list can go on. I'm also worried about the equity aspect. There's a form where you can fill out. Some family members have parents who have a lot of time and will be down with the school on this first day, and some family members don't. I'm worried about language barriers. I'm worried about othering. When I was at the OSBA, they talked about students that work, students that their parents may not speak English, so they can have cell phones. There's a lot of othering, and so now you have the ability, and there's so many options that it could happen. And being fair, having staff try to figure out what's fair, it just seems that trying to be fair, I can see actually being unfair, and I have a real big concern about that. I just read an article this morning about Springfield High School. Their trauma is way different than our trauma that we've experienced, but they are going through issues with the parents and the trauma of some events at Springfield, and that's a big concern too. When on days that are high wind days or days of the anniversary of Almeida, that's a whole different ballgame. I feel like it needs to be flexible. I am not convinced this is best for students. And I also so Springfield's article, they had done it and they said, oh, there's some things we need to change. This is what I advocated for months. Right now, the way we have it, if there's something that needs to change because of whatever or new technology that comes out, Caitlin can change it right away. She can say, I'm just crossing it on there and say, okay, starting when we get back from spring break, we can do this. the way the policy is now, it has to go through the board, we have to double check it for OSBA, it could be a month to change things. And I looked in the consequences of what would happen if the board voted no. I'm voting no. But if the board voted no, I asked several, what are the consequences? Right now, there is no consequences. It's not a Division 22 standard right now, there's no rules to it right now. Some of the consequences could be, I asked someone at OSBA, and they were very thoughtful, I don't have the email in front of me. Some of them could be parents to be mad. Some of them would be that, you know, the governor would be upset. And to that I say, come to our school and talk to our students. We have great students that can explain why this policy may not be best for students. There is no, another thing was other schools might be like, well, you're not staying in line and we look bad. But honestly, I think that I feel like our district has proven time and time again that we do what's best for students. We have a good name of standing up for our students, voicing for our students, and trying our best. Do we have a way to go? Absolutely. But I think everyone in this room would do whatever they could to do what's best for students. And if any board was able to vote no and say, look, we need to relook at this because it's not best for students, I think our board would be a good model because we have the track record of showing that we do what's best for students. And we have the respect of our communities and statewide. Everyone knows that we try our best to do what's best for students. So that's just my long-winded thing, but I really have a lot of concerns, and it's definitely an unfounded mandate. Every time someone speaks about a solution, it's money, it's personal time, it's tracking things. We don't need students to be worried about, oh my gosh, I need to call my mom because grandma's in the hospital and I want to make sure her surgery went okay. They need to be thinking about math and their assignments and staff needs to support kids. There's so much going on that having your cell phone off at lunch or on a bus because you're on a track meet, I'm sorry, I just don't think that it's what's best for students. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Don. Any other discussion?
I'm wondering if it could be our policy simply adjusted a little bit to fit our situation.
So
you know, I mean, we know elementary school, they've done well with no cell phones. And it's where the rubber meets road is middle school. And it's certainly at high school where we have young adults who we know the cell phone for adults population. I mean, I'm addicted and I fight like mad not to be addicted to it. But there's the downside, but there's also, it's your connection to the world. And that's true, you know, for everyone. And so it's quite a quandary in terms of being mandated to do something that one size fits all.
I agree with Dawn in the aspect that it's going to create division, and the kids that are on 504s or with medical issues that do have their cell phones are gonna be ostracized somewhat from their other classmates. I also think that we're trying to get these kids ready for adult life, and in adult life, you are allowed to use your cell phone on your lunch break. And it's not like they're using their cell phones all day long. It's literally just during their breaks. And I don't agree with it.
I have a question. What happens if we don't know? Like, what are the consequences?
Nothing right
A
now.
lot of what could happen.
So nothing happens. When might something happen? If there was a decision for something to happen, when would that be?
I think, if the board votes no on the policy, you just have to be prepared that it's gonna be newsworthy. So we're gonna have attention on us, and I think, if we don't meet the deadlines outlined in the executive order, we can expect at some point to hear from ODE or the governor's office in some form or fashion. And so, I think that's just something you have to, if you wanna vote no, you just have to accept that the conversation and the fireworks, as I put earlier, are going to continue, and it will put a target on, or could put a target on Phoenix talent in a way that we, maybe we would welcome that, maybe we would not, but, it's unknown, but I just think we would have to anticipate, if we voted no, we would have to anticipate that we would fall under some kind of scrutiny. Perhaps it would be good, perhaps it would be unwelcome and a distraction. It's already unwelcome and a distraction, so, but that's kind of where we're at. As Dawn mentioned, there's not an official way that happened, but, that could happen right there.
There's not gonna be rules written, so
Right.
that's, I think, the difference between.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
typically, like when they, typically they give you choices in the past. Every time there's been an executive order or there's been something that you haven't followed the Division 22 standards, there isn't been anywhere in history where they haven't contacted the school and tried to work something out. And, even during like the mass time, they called the schools and stuff, so we would have probably pressed, but I think I would love to have a conversation with anybody. I mean, I think I'm looking at it as a positive, like, that's a good time to have a conversation. I think Brent would be great to talk and invite ODE or the governor in and talk to our students, see what our school was like, because I think it's important that one size fits all is known, that the struggles that happens when you expect one size fit all. Sorry, we're on time.
It's just, I'm facilitating a meeting, that's why, but this is was. The board, out of 9 years as superintendent, I'm really looking forward to that, so. But, I know there may be more discussion, but, I know Denise will fill me in. I won't have to wait to watch it on YouTube.
So, and just something that I'll just share from that, if you haven't read this, is, the governor's executive order, while not a statute, still has the force of law.
Good afternoon, pirates. Here are your afternoon announcements.
Just like a statute passed by the legislature would have.
C-105. Impact about lunch in the Stanley's room, C-105.
Has the force of law.
And sophomores. Pirates traders.
I'm supposed to
There is a
do
meeting
that.
today after school from 4 to 5 C-105. That's why
There's a lot of funny things we have to do.
Right.
I also just think we need to go back to that same thing, what is best for our students, and I don't agree that this is best for our students.
I'm not trying to interrupt about the cell phone thing, it's lunch for these friends, and so I just wanted to make sure you all know so that they know.
Okay, yeah.
You guys wanna go to lunch?
I would appreciate that. I appreciate everything everyone said, and I love the conversation that's happening, and I wish I could say for 5 minutes, so I'll take a break.
Good, yeah,
Um,
take a break. You
but-
can use your phone still. too.
And I.
Did you hear the last part she said?
I beg, we vote no, I will go for it.
When they call me, I'll give them the number.
I'll have a crew.
Okay, are we ready to vote?
I need to, we need to discuss the green language.
Yeah, it's not, it's no longer voting.
Unless you're.
We have a motion on the table to pass it as presented. So, right? What am I missing?
What about green language?
Well, I think, I'm just gonna interrupt here, page 2, with the steps that may include for discipline. Remember, our opinion is less is more. We don't have to include that, we can pick and choose, I just wanna make sure I'm understanding, if you wanna pass it as is, that's fine, I just.
My understanding was the policy needed to outline the steps according to the executive order. Are you saying we don't have that in there?
No, I'm not saying that, I just want clarification on green language.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, they got the top down.
Yes, yeah, that's the one that was, we have a motion and a second on the table.
Okay, and how does the Road River, I kind of like the Road River policy myself, but how does that impact this? It's the last one, other part our estimate.
But does the Road River one follow the governor's mandate?
Yeah, Dad looked at that and said that that would be. That's my understanding of what he said.
What did he say?
I have a question for Kaylin. Could you, I feel kind of, some of this, I'm making a decision in a vacuum because I don't really know what's being said out there in our world of these students that are here. And also at the middle school, and are you getting feedback from parents? Have you heard anybody, or people don't really understand that this is happening? And now we put something in place and then you're gonna get inundated. I'm just wondering, like, what is the pulse and what is your take on this situation?
Yeah, so there's been a good amount of conversation with students who are in leadership positions, not necessarily just the leadership class, but
Right.
just students in general who are in leadership positions. I would say that I think that we've done a good job of having that conversation with those students, and they know that this is a possibility. We started those conversations last spring. The four board reps that are here are really great about having those conversations. We have not, just transparently, had a lot of conversations with families about this possibility at this time. We did before we had our policy made. I haven't gotten phone calls about it. None of that. Students are like, what's gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? Those are kind of the things that are going on, but nothing like, that I would, it's just kind of like waiting for the decision to be made, if that makes sense. I think you have, mixed feelings about that. I've heard things like, I need to get a hold of my kid and I'm gonna get a hold of them whether or not you allow that to happen, right? And then I heard like, yep, I totally support the policy, we'll go through, the avenues that we need by calling the main office and et cetera, et cetera. So, and there's really not a feeling of which is more that we're hearing.
So I'm gonna add something too. If we vote no, if that happens, you can always add it next time. I mean, if we feel like this is too soon, we can like later, or if the governor calls or ODE calls, we can always add the policy later.
It doesn't matter when.
It does, I mean, we're supposed to do it by this, but if we say no today, doesn't mean we can't come back and say, oh, we changed our mind, we're going to vote it now.
Yeah, the executive order says you have to pass policy by October 31st.
But you could pass it on February 15th, I mean, we could always change our mind and say we're getting feedback from staff that they would like it now, or feedback from parents or whatever, so I'm just putting that out there, if we can always do it, and I would just.
It could go the other way too, right?
Taking a policy away is a little bit harder and a little bit more challenging.
That's good to know. Is it appropriate for me to ask what's the temperature of the leadership in the high school? And don't feel pressure to answer, I was just not sure.
Sorry, the students or the staff?
Staff, teachers.
The policy that we have in place is appreciated at this time, especially because, when we're talking about modeling for staff, staff are busy too, and part of what is happening is we have coaches and all of those kinds of things who also have families. And so, when they are able to have their cell phones during break and lunch, because that is permitted also for students, that feels better as a staff member.
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate that.
Sorry, we know, and I don't know if you know, but like, so if, for instance, if DECA was going on a trip somewhere, And they left at 1, they couldn't have their cell phone or electronic device until like 3:45 when school got out. So if they wanted to, sometimes they want to prepare, if they might be able to on their Chromebook, but so that's kind of a challenge for coaches as well, because it says in school hours, so if they went somewhere else on it, sometimes our students go to like
Field trips.
field trips or something, and I can see that being a problem with cell phones, but sometimes, you know, also there is, the parents are expecting a text of what time you're gonna be, so. I know after school they
That's-
can.
It's so much more helpful when we have more context of things that I haven't thought about, so.
Michael, I have a question.
Yes.
So if Rick is not here, obviously, I miss him during this time. And we have 6 of us and we vote this and 3 of us vote in favor and 3 of us vote no.
You have to have a majority of the board to pass the policy.
Okay. So.
So another option, we don't have any more meetings on the calendar this month, we could create a special meeting, we wanted to discuss it further.
What would change between now
I
and then?
I'm not saying we should, I'm just saying we could.
Yeah, I
Ready to vote.
I just want to go back to work.
If it's high, you can always bring it up and.
I just was curious, I haven't been here when we had that happen, so that's why.
I
I'm
feel
curious
like,
about it.
from doing the board governance training, if we're gridlocked on a vote, then we table it until our next meeting, and then we bring it back up for discussion and try to revote on it.
You have a motion and a second. I just reading through it, I don't think, I don't know if there's any green language that we're choosing between. I understood the motion to be as presented,
That's fine.
in acceptance of the green language in there. If that was not the intended purpose of the motion, we can agree with that, but.
Rereading the Road River, I like the wording on the final line of. It's not to be, it's to be in lockers or backpacks, district provided storage, which is ridiculous. But personal electronic devices are not to be stored on the student's person or in their clothing during regular instructional hours, which does not include the bus to and from the track meet. That's not an instructional hour. The class or the lunchroom is not an instructional hour.
But the governor's rules say those bell.
Well,
So that's not fully.
except, can we?
But
do this?
the rules that say bounce a bell are outside of the time that students are oftentimes traveling for sports things. That's not.
Depending, so if they were to leave at 10 AM, they're not allowed to have their cell phones until the end of the school day, even if they're still gone. Like if they were on the bus traveling to California for some reason at 10 o'clock until 3:45 when school lets out, they're not allowed to have their phones until after that time. And then after that 3:40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever time.
So we.
Michael, we changed that last word in the Road Rivers from regular instructional hours to regular instructional.
We can change anything we want, it's a matter of whether it's in compliance with the, executive order.
So I apologize because I did not code this in green, so that on page 1, that last paragraph, personal electronics. That is in brackets should all be coded green. And which means it's all optional, so when you look at Road River policy, they took the one, not the must be placed in district provided. Maybe kept by students in lockers or backpacks,
Yeah.
but personal, they kept that choice, so that was my fault, I did not code that right.
Okay.
So those are 3 different things we can choose from,
Okay. Okay.
I just wanna make sure, sorry.
I think, who made the motion, was it you?
I did.
You can amend your motion if you'd like.
And adopt, and say that I adopt the other. Is that what you're saying?
You could do that, you could amend your, so I'll just say the advice from that was that the policy that's been presented that we have a motion and a second for is
What's right?
most in compliance with the executive order. So, but it's up to you, it's your motion, so you can amend it as you wish.
I move to approve board policy JFCBE, personal electronic devices. And the Rogue River policy
Just as.
as presented in here.
Okay.
But with the instructional hours changed to instructional situation. Not hours.
I don't feel, I'm just gonna say,
Hold on, it's
yeah,
Polly's motion.
Right, yeah.
so-
so. I'm saying as they have it in the Rogue River, because Beth looked at that, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'm not popular.
I'll second it, Polly.
Not Polly.
So that's.
We're gonna tie it up.
So that's an amended motion, right? Okay. Discussion. So now the motion is to pass the exactly as it's written, Rogue River policy. That was your motion.
I don't know, this is my first rodeo on this, so it's like, I'm having trouble
But,
here.
yeah.
Probably a lot of us, this is our first rodeo on this. We, like she said, like Denise said, these are options that are on those 1, 2, 3, 4s, right? You have to pick something.
So it must be placed in district provided pouches or maybe can some backpacks.
Is there any more
Or
discussion?
maybe sort of
Motion.
person, but may not be used.
I think if you play with it and you don't have, and you're not following the executive order, what's the difference if you pass something that's not following the executive order or you don't pass it? So that's.
And you
what
don't feel the river passes the executive order?
I don't know.
I don't think it does.
It doesn't.
And I know I know some boards are trying to find a way that's best for their students, and I absolutely think you need to do what you need to do for your district, if you pass it as is or pass it to change. But honestly, if you're not passing it as an executive order, I just feel like eventually, I don't know, I have a hard time passing something that's not, that I know isn't actually the executive order.
You mean legally compliant?
Yeah.
Right, with the executive order.
Correct.
Are we ready to vote on this or do we wanna? Or do we wanna-
start that, but please start there.
Okay. Okay, so the motion is for the Rogue River.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, we're,
So I all of a sudden got the full power on deciding what the.
well, you made the motion, ma'am.
Yeah, now I understand the impact. So I'm gonna make another amendment to my, whatever, just hold the third time.
Okay.
I move to approve the board policy JFCEB, personal electronic device as presented. The first one at the top, a G1, and as it is,
Do you wanna address the optional?
the green.
Yeah,
What are you talking about, G1?
Well,
so now we're back to the first policy, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, do you wanna, in your motion, include which optional language on?
So it's the repercussions if they don't do it.
No, it's the, on page 1, there's 3 bracketed options there.
Mhm.
Would you like to move which of those bracketed options you wanna include? So it's either must be placed in district provided pouches or storage, may be kept by students in lockers or backpacks. Personal devices are not to be stored, may be stored on the student's person but may not be used during regular instructional hours. Those are your options. I apologize, but I missed that.
While you're all thinking, I think it's been really beautiful that so many of us have been like, oh, I made a mistake, and we are able to extend grades and receive grades. And it's just really lovely, especially when we're having a conversation around something that's kind of muddy.
Yeah.
And we're going back and forth, and I love that we're whatever the outcome is, we're trying to do what's best for students based on our perception. And I just want to call that out, because even though we kind of see it, it's nice to be explicit about that in challenging times, so. And I'm grateful for the time that you're all taking, extended time.
Just stare on kids if they wanna know.
My phone will even start ringing or it won't.
Yes, so I'm just grateful for all of you that, you know, we're human, and that's the beauty of how we get to show up in this space. And I've just seen that said multiple times, I made a mistake, or I didn't mean, and how
Yes.
lovely that we can create a safe space for people to show up fully,
Yes.
and there's no wrong answer.
So Polly,
So including the green language on the top paragraph.
yeah, so that's, yes, so what I'd like you to just clarify in your motion is it's the last paragraph of the policy before it gets into all the, what are those called? Help me out. The appendices or
No.
the notes at the bottom,
Reference notes?
yeah, reference notes, so I'll say this, if you want the board policy to look as similar to the current building policy that's in place, it would be option 3, may be stored on the student's person but may not be used. Just if that's what you desire to.
That's easy to understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
So make a motion saying it can be stored on the person.
Yes.
Right, that's what's coming out.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
And what do we do about all this non-compliance, which I see as a funding issue, staff time, I mean. It's not.
Welcome to K-12 governance. Yes. So Polly, is that your motion?
Yes.
For
that's my motion.
the may be stored on the student's person but may not be used? Okay, do I have a second? I'll second it. Okay, any further discussion? So we're kind of back where we started, but we have some more clarity on that last item.
And so which one of these 4 are we leaving in on violations and how that?
But that is
The
the
whole
steps,
shoot.
it's all.
Oh, the whole
Yeah,
thing.
It's all of it, it's all of the rest of the green language.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, I'll be taking this away.
Okay, Michael.
Okay, Don,
No.
Rebecca,
No.
I vote yes. Diana,
No.
Polly,
Yes.
Nancy.
Oh.
Why did I say I wanted to?
I'm trying to do you but normally I would have been last, so I tried to do you a solid.
No, you did me dirty, you always go last.
I was just going in order, sorry.
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding,
Can I get clarification real quick?
Mhm.
It was no, yes, no, yes,
Yes.
no.
okay, no,
You vote no? Okay, because we did not get a majority vote from the board, the policy fails. Okay. Moving on dramatically. So the AR, there's no point in taking up the AR because the policy failed. Okay, next agenda is there for your review. We have a lot of policies. We might have one more. And we are adjourned.
I'll tell the meeting. There's 2 things I wanted to add.